Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt.
Stop! There's not enough light. Try your birthday cake.
Well, my name's Peter Parfitt. Welcome to New Brick Workshop. We've got problems with the lighting in the workshop at the moment, and so I'm having to make do with my birthday cake. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, get on with it.
Ah, there you are. Right, I'm now going to solve this problem. I'm now going to turn on the brand new Festool DUO work light. It's an LED working light. Obviously you can't see it at the moment because it's switched on. I'll turn it off and I'll turn the normal lights back on, and I'm going to describe the DUO work light to you. Now the Syslite DUO comes in a sustainer, as you might expect from Festool, and in the box is the Syslite DUO itself, instructions and guarantee information, and that's it. You can opt for the optional tripod. It's very heavy. I'll talk more about this in a minute. Let's look at the Syslite DUO in particular. Now the output of the Syslite is 8,000 lumens. I will talk more about how we measure light in a minute. It's got a light temperature of 5000 K, which means that the light that's coming from here is very close to natural daylight. The whole unit weighs 3.4 kilos, and the cable is 4.9 meters in length, and it is actually plumbed into the device itself. It is not a plug-it cable. Now this is designed for rugged work environments, and so it's got an IP rating of 55. And again, I'll talk more about that shortly. Right, let's just look at the various ways that it can be mounted or positioned. It can sit down on any surface, and the light is coming up from here at about a 20-degree angle. It can be turned upside down, and then it's pointing downwards very slightly. It's got a detachable base, which is easy to remove. Now we can remove the base by lifting up on these two plastic tabs here, one at a time, and then pulling the base towards you, like so. And then the base comes away. And this plate now has 3 screw holes or bolt holes in it, and you can mount that on a piece of wood or whatever, and you've then got many more mounting options for the Syslite DUO. And it goes back on quite simply, just like so. And one other option on the back here is a little space for a screw. You can stick a screw in a wall, in a piece of wood or whatever it might be, and just hook that over that screw, and there's the light dangling quite safely out of the way of whatever it is you're doing. It can be hung by the handle by a piece of rope. I've got a short piece here, and you just fix it like so and hang it wherever you find suitable. And the only way that Festool recommends you don't mount the Syslite is on a vertical surface facing downwards. I imagine that's because it doesn't allow enough air flow through the various cooling vents at the top and bottom. And alternatively, it can be mounted on the optional stand. There's one of those little sprung-loaded clips there, and if you look carefully, there is a little hole which will take that spring-loaded clip, and you just simply push this down like so, and that's it, mounted on the tripod. The tripod can be adjusted. The legs go out quite a huge amount, like so, and then you've got the ability to raise this up beyond where you can see. And don't worry if you accidentally let it drop. Festool have put a little rubber bouncy thing at the bottom there, so it's not going to do anybody any damage. So this will go up to a height of just over 2 meters. So you can see it's nearly as tall as I am. And so that's pretty useful, really. Now I've got the light switched on. Now it's been on for about 5 minutes, and it says in the all the bump that the surfaces can get up to 90 degrees centigrade. Now I'm touching it all the way around, and I imagine that that's a figure with some safety margin, but I don't feel as though I'm endangering myself by touching it everywhere at the moment. It also says that there's a minimum safety distance between the light and anything which is combustible of 20 centimetres or 0.2 of a metre. And I can see the sense of that because perhaps over an extended period of time, the little bit of heat which I can feel on my hand may warm something up just a little bit too much. So you have to respect the safety factors that Festool have advised. Now the LEDs are lined up in such a way that you're getting about 180 degrees of light illumination. You see I'm coming in from the side here, and obviously all the way around. Now it is brighter when you're close up just here than it is at the edges, but as you go further away, so that spreads out into a more even lighting pattern. So 180 degrees all round. Now this unit is rated at IP55. The first digit is the dust ingress or foreign object ingress, and the 5 means it's dust proof. The second digit, the 5, means it can be sprayed with water. That's water. I'm going to turn this around so it doesn't blind us all, and I'm going to turn it on, and now let's put some water on it. And there we go. So that's it running in water, and that should be perfectly safe when it's splashed with water. If you're a plasterer, if you're a painter and decorator, or if you happen to be out in a shower of rain, you should be perfectly safe. And there we go. I've just dried it up with a bit of kitchen roll just to get the worst off, and I'm perfectly happy handling it even though my hands are wet and it's wet. Now the Syslite DUO produces 8,000 lumen. Now to put that in perspective, the old 100 watt light bulb that we're all used to, although we don't see so many these days, that was about 1,600 lumen. So this is equivalent of about 5 100 watt light bulbs. You can't talk about wattage when you're dealing with LED lights, because these consume considerably less power than the old-fashioned 100 watt light bulbs, the old-fashioned incandescent lights. Now for a further comparison, the Festool Syslite Cal 2, that's the small rechargeable work light, has an output of about 760 lumens. So you're going to need over 10 of those to match the output of the Syslite DUO. Now I said earlier that the colour temperature is about 5,000 degrees Kelvin, and that means this light is very close to daylight, to natural daylight, which is very useful, particularly if you're a plasterer or a painter. Now when you're looking at the competition, you've got to compare like with like, and now this is the sort of thing that you would expect any Festool tool to be able to withstand comfortably day in, day out. Now, if you take some of the cheap and cheerful lights that you get from the various places that we all shop at frequently, I know, then they're not going to be as rugged. But that's fair enough. Maybe you can afford to have something that you throw away after a short period of time. But also look at the output power, 8,000 lumen. Now, the most that I've found for a cheap and cheerful light is about 1/3 of that. You also need to look at the IP rating, and if you're happy to take one of those cheap and cheerful lights and risk holding on to it while you're in your workplace when it's raining, well, fine, good on you, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't expect you to take any risks, and so only use something like this the way the manufacturer recommends it. And I'm quite happy to have this wet item in my hand, and I'm quite confident that the IP55 rating is spot on. Now I've now got a very wet workshop, but don't try anything that's silly if you're trying to demonstrate this to your best friend. Now, don't take my word for it. Go to a show, go to a demonstration day, go to your local Festool dealer and get your hands on the Syslite DUO and try it yourself. Just feel what it's like, feel the quality. And I'm perfectly happy, as I've demonstrated before. Let it knock around a bit on the floor and it's perfectly okay. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.